So last year I started off with a crazy dance, so let's keep the tradition alive. What's up guys, what's up cycling fanatics? 2023, the first video of the new year, so I guess Happy New Year. I hope you had a good holidays. My holidays were shit. Christmas, New Year's, we all got sick. I had a fever. I was supposed to race 200-kilometer big mountain bike marathon on this bike, but I had to cancel. Anyway, it's a new year. I'm gonna take you on a training race today on the new bike, and I want to tell you all about my plans for 2023. So the plan of today is gonna be 1 hour training race, but I'm gonna go there on the bike. So I'm gonna be riding there for about an hour and a half. It's 40 kilometers on the mountain bike. Then I'll be doing the race and then I'll ride home. So really big training for me today. And of course I'm gonna be doing it on the BH Lynx. That's the new bike. BH is gonna be supporting me in this year. It's awesome. They've got amazing bikes. They're gonna support me with a mountain bike, a gravel bike, and a lightweight road bike, which I'm gonna use on Haute route. Now the cool thing about BH is they are flexible. They understand my position. I'm gonna be riding all over the place, renting out bikes of different brands, and they will allow me to do that. I still have the wind space, I can still use that. They're not gonna be bitching at me about that, so that's amazing. That's what I need. We have many partners of the channel from last year that are gonna go with me to 2023, so I'm still gonna be using the same clothing. I'm with Sirocco, I've been with them for a couple of years. They're expanding their line, so I've got gloves. I'll show you a new winter jacket today. I still wanna do a proper review. But I also want to share that today I'm going to be shooting this race video on the new DJI Osmo Action 3. They're not paying me any money, but they did send me this camera to try it out. So it's not a review. I'm going to use this camera to film the race today and to get familiar with the camera. The reason I can always shoot these videos and these races is because I'm very familiar with my equipment. So I've been using GoPro for many years, and now I'm switching to a new one. So I have to sort of get used to it maybe. So I'm not sure how it's gonna go today, but I'll let you guys decide on the image quality and all that stuff. I really like this. It's pretty crazy how quick it mounts. You can detach it from the mounts, and you can even shoot it vertical with this different mount. It's pretty awesome. The audio quality we're gonna see, because I always use these little fluffy things on the GoPro, because the audio is terrible on these action cams. DJI claims they have a really good audio.
Well, good luck with that.
So I'm riding 40k on the road on the mountain bike. I have a sort of a cross tailwind now, so speed is still pretty high. I will be having a bit of a headwind later on. It's really windy, so I'm wondering how the audio would be in this condition. I'm expecting it to be really bad, because usually audio and wind are not good friends. Very dangerous Dutch wildlife just crossed my path. Okay, for the race I'm gonna use the chest mount. DJI has the very similar mount as my GoPro, so I think it's gonna be just about the same. I underestimated the wind a little bit. It was actually a pretty tough ride to get here. I'm still in time for the pre-ride, which is gonna start any second. Wish me luck. Okay, here we go. This is actually the start. I totally missed the start of the race. I had 2 feet on the ground, and then there's one guy who's like, okay guys, let's go. And everybody starts racing. So anyway, I managed to press the button of the new camera and I'm in the race. There's multiple categories in this race. I think they do it on age groups. I was in category 9, and the category 8 guys started right in front of us with like
a couple seconds in between. So I'm actually gonna overtake a lot of guys who are maybe in a different category. This guy is definitely category 9, my category. This guy as well. It's going super fast right now. The guys in the front are really pushing it right at the beginning of this race. I've never done this before. This is a real like mountain bike trail. This is a mountain biking club that has their own terrain, and they've, you know, created this practice facility. And for the race, they've put all these little banners or these lines on the side so you can't cut off. Right now we're going over a big hill. We're gonna go over that a lot. Every lap was about 8 to 9 minutes long, and we're gonna do 50 minutes plus 1 lap. So it was gonna be about an hour of racing, and it's just full gas. I had my heart rate up to my threshold, like 180, between 170 and 180 the whole time. This is actually start finish, or the finish, however you want to call it, which we're gonna be sprinting for the line in an hour from now. So this is, I thought this was the most fun, or well, the whole lap was actually fun. But here we have the hill, which we go over a lot of times. On the right side there's actually a drop, which I did once in the pre-ride, and I never did this line on the left. So I figured, okay, I'm just gonna have a look what it is, but it was a lot slower, as you can see. Now I'm on a little bit of a gap behind this guy in front of me. Even in this first lap, I had no idea who is who. I knew a bunch of guys are in front of me, but I couldn't count how many guys were in front of me. And then at some point we would be starting to overtake the guys from the other category, so it was very difficult to know in what position I was actually in. But it didn't really matter. It was a training race for me, so far I was having a lot of fun. As you can see, it's like nothing is straight. It's nothing but turns, braking, accelerating, cornering again. There's going to be jumps. There's going to be drops. There's going to be gaps. So it's really a fun trail, or a fun course to race actually. And very, very different from the mountain bike races that I've done and that you have seen on this channel. So I've done a mountain bike race in California, which had very amazing single tracks, crazy descending, big climbs. And then some mountain bike races in the Netherlands, but that's mountain bike marathon, where you do like 100 or 200 kilometers of mountain bike races with a lot of straight trails, straight line roads. And this is nothing but cornering, twisting left and right, and over this hill many times. So it was really, really fun. The road, like the surface itself, it was like a foresty floor. And during the race, it sort of got more and more slippery because we're riding over it like again and again. But the grip was all right. It's kind of a black soil, so it's not super good, but it was okay. I lowered my tire pressure when I arrived at the race, because I went over the road with a higher pressure, and then when I got here, I was like, okay, now I'm going to my mountain bike. Like mountain biking tire pressure, I use about 1.4 bars in the front and 1.5 in the back. So that's sort of my setup. This was a really cool hill section, really corner. It was difficult. This corner was quite difficult. It was very, very sharp. And then we keep going left. It's like a more than a 360 degree turn through this tunnel. More corners, and then we are riding to the start again. There was some long straights on this part of the lap. Now this is the first lap, but we actually skipped a little bit of the trail, which you see on the right side here. So in the next few shots you'll see you see some more of the actual lap that we didn't do yet, and I think they did it in the first lap to you know, get us strung out a bit more, or I don't know exactly, but here I already have a big gap. I was behind these other two guys for a little bit, and like I said, I didn't really know how fast the other guys were or who they were. You can see them on the right side already. They went so fast, and every time I got behind someone else, and because it's so narrow, it's difficult to overtake. and sometimes it takes a while until you can overtake, and then by the time you get behind or past the guy, there's another big gap. So now we're in the second lap, and actually right now we're taking a more sharper right turn here, and we go over. There's a jump. Whoop. It was a nice overtaking opportunity. We go over a different trail. Here was a nasty drop, actually, quite a big gap, and we didn't do this on the first lap, so we skipped that on the first lap. Another drop. This drop was actually pretty difficult to ride over fast, because it was, you landed on an upsloping part of the trail, so if you go really fast you would just hit your front wheel really hard, so it was kind of difficult. This bike actually has a dropper post, which is pretty crazy for a Dutch like mountain bike, because you know, you guys comment on my mountain biking videos sometimes like, oh, this is not mountain biking, it's all flat and whatever. So most guys actually ride either a hardtail, and hardly anyone rides with a dropper post. But this bike has a dropper post, and I started using it in the last couple laps just to try it out. I've never used a dropper post before. You can go over these drops so much faster because you can absorb way more with your legs. I've done BMX racing in the past, well, my whole life until I was like 25 years old. With the BMX bike, you put your saddle all the way down. This was a really cool section of the trail as well. Some nice corners. I haven't done this at all because I didn't do this in the pre-ride. So this is the first time I'm going through these corners. Anyway, with the BMX bike, you put your saddle all the way down, so you have maximum clearance for your butt to go up and down above your saddle or above your rear tire, and that's what makes you what gets you to ride over bumps really fast, because you can, you know, move your legs and absorb those bumps. And with a mountain bike, because your saddle is in general like really high, because it's more efficient for pedaling, you don't really get that clearance, so sometimes it's quite difficult to go fast over these gaps and drops. But the dropper post makes it a little bit easier, but it's definitely not needed on a trail like this. So here I'm behind a couple other guys, and these straights are nice for overtaking, so this is where I had to overtake them. I don't even know if these guys are in my group or not. I see these other guys there on the right side. I think those are the leaders, but at the time I was racing, I had no idea. Another corner, and then another very strong, long straight line. And then you'll see more of the trail that you saw in the first lap. So the bike is a full suspension bike with a lockout. So on the left side of my handlebar, with my left hand, the first lever is the dropper post, and then you've got the lockout of the suspension. I was riding a lot actually in locked mode, but sometimes even on these long stretches when it's bumpy, it's really nice to unlock it, and you will go faster because you're just absorbing those bumps, and you're not wasting your energy by bumping over the bumps. And that's something I really noticed with my last race that I uploaded, which was the Veldslag am Noord, and I raced it on my gravel bike, which has no suspension. I had more narrow tires, which were like too high of a pressure, and the bumps, they will cost you so much energy, where the suspension is actually making you way more efficient and way faster. So here I'm pushing it hard, hitting another drop. So here I went on the right side, where's the drop right there, and then downhill through a couple corners, and then behind this dude in black, and before the start, he's behind me, and he's like, well, you know, back in the days, I used to be able to win some of the races from you, Jasper, but I don't think that's gonna happen today. And I look around, like, I think, like, I know this guy, but I don't know from what. I'm like, dude, you need to help me. He's like, well, I'm Job Looyenga. We used to race BMX. I'm like, dude, yeah, man. So this guy in front of me, 20 years ago, when I was 13, was the first time that I raced him on the BMX. So we used to race BMX races. He's 1 year older than me, so we only would see each other when we had like these combined age category races. And that year they fused the 13 and 14-year-old boys together. So that cost me actually one national title, which was kind of crap. But it was a really cool year, and I got a lot better by racing the big boys and the older guys. And yeah, Job was one of those guys. Anyway, I asked him just now, like, hey, are you the first guy? Because I've overtaken a few guys, but I don't know where I am, who everyone is. He's like, no, they're gone. It's like, all right, so I'm gonna stay behind him for a little bit and then overtake, and then, you know, see how much I can move on. Okay, fast forward, this is the last lap. So we're 50 minutes in the race and I was getting pretty tired. There's one guy in front of me, but he's got like a couple minutes, so I'm definitely not overtaking him. And then there was one guy behind me and he was creeping up on me, like he was getting a little bit closer and closer and closer in the last few laps. So I actually made sort of a tactical decision, I don't know, it was more like a guess, to just let him ride up to me. So I lowered my speed a little bit and I let him overtake me in this lap, because there was, you know, those long straightaways and it was kind of windy. So I figured I'll just let him pull on those straights, and then before the finish there's like a 50-meter straight line and I can maybe still sprint, you know, overtake him in the sprint and still win from him. My other option was just to go full gas now and stay in front of me, which I didn't know if he was gonna overtake me just before the end and I would be dead. So I figured, yeah, sure, I'm gonna go for my sprint. I like sprinting for the line. So the guy's right behind me. You can't see him because he's behind me, but here we go. Okay, so we're getting very close to the finish. We're gonna go over this hill one more time, then down a couple corners, 180, and then that sprint to the finish. So right now I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stay right behind him, stay close, and then just full gas on the bricks. Right here on the right side is the finish line. So only that last corner was kind of tricky, and I just wanted to stay very close to him. So here we go, braking into this corner, almost getting out right there, and then boom, full on the gas. He's shifting, I'm just spinning, and boom, overtake him. I got second.
Lekker. Sterk gereden, man. Je kwam elke keer dichterbij. Ik zag je de hele tijd komen. Ik denk, nou,
Yo, really fun lap. Heart rate on the threshold the whole time. It's like an hour full gas. Technical stuff is really fun. Way different from like the marathon races I've done. So
2 hours later.
okay, that's 4 hours on the bike today, 110 kilometers, and I don't have any power on this bike. I do want to install a power meter. Average heart rate 153, so it's pretty high. Maximum 190, so I did really put down a little bit of gas. For the rest, the bike did really well. I'm getting used to it really fast. I just need to get some more experience on these really technical tracks, because to be honest, I've actually never done this in my life. So after the race, I got rid of the wet clothing, because an hour at full gas, you're just gonna be really sweaty. And I brought this jacket. This is the new Sirocco J3 jacket. The zippers, really good weather and windproof. It's got a two-way zipper. This is one of the most awesome features of cycling jackets or wind vests. It's just great because if you're a little bit too warm, you can unzip it from the bottom and you still don't get like a cold neck and stuff. So this is really nice. The back, it's got normal horizontal pockets, so that's really nice. It's got more pockets here. For the rest, it's more flexible than the other jacket and the fit is just really nice. Probably gonna race the Traca in Girona in April. That's right after the Mallorca cycling camp. Shout out again, guys, check out the cycling camp. I'll put the link in the description. And then in June I'm gonna go ride l'Étape de Tour in Denmark, which is awesome. And of course Haute Route in the Alps. Main goal of this year. It's gonna be crazy. If you haven't seen my latest race videos yet from Haute Route and from the gravel race I did, click up here and go check it out. Gonna see you next time. See ya!